Man, that smells good, but I would probably enjoy this a whole lot more if I wasn't getting those ring notifications. It's so New Mexico. I mean, the chicken sighting on the corner of Kachina and Chimayo, let's get the chicken back to its rightful owner already. But anyway, back to the whiskey. Whiskey fam, sit down and grab a dram and listen to the soothing sounds of your boy, Whiskey One, talk a little whiskey. So today we have some Garrison Brothers Guadalupe. Now, I have not had a Guadalupe bottle of my own, but a good friend of mine did let me try some Guadalupe. And from what I remember, it was like 2 years ago, it was amazing. It was outstanding, quite frankly. And I never really seen it in town here in Albuquerque, New Mexico until just recently. So once I saw it, I knew I had to get my hands on it. It's bottled at 53.5% ABV or 107 proof. And I am eager to just jump right into it. So let's see if we can negotiate this wax topper. Oh man, this thing's on there tight. So here we go. Okay, kind of a light pop. It's okay. I'm sure it's got a lot more than light taste. So we're gonna pour a little. This thing is aged for at least 4 years in toasted and virgin American oak barrels. And then they age it for an additional 2 in Portugal Port wine casks. So let's see if, you know, over the last 2 years, they've kept things consistently good with this bottling. Now, I don't have other Garrison Brothers whiskeys. Full disclosure, I've been to Garrison Brothers tastings. The Albuquerque Whiskey Society had one about a couple months ago, and I was pretty impressed. I will say that most of them tasted a bit oaky, a little oak forward, and I'm not a big fan of having oak forward whiskeys, but I did remember that the Balmorhea was amazing, solid whiskey. I thought that their flagship small batch was pretty solid too. And then we didn't have a chance to taste this. This was not on the menu, but I thought let's dive into this if I ever got the opportunity. All right, so let's give this a little whirly twirly and get that whiskey to coat the glass. That always helps to bring out those aromas when you're first nosing it. But one of the things I'm just going to initially talk about is that beautiful, beautiful color. That is some dark mahogany, rich crimson, just dark, dark red, scarlet in color. And it's got some really, really thick legs. So usually with like those richer, thicker whiskeys, they stick to the palate a little bit more. They usually give a little bit of a longer hug, a little bit more of a finish. But my initial thoughts on the nose, it is got some heavy leather and oak, aroma. Definitely earthy. And mind you that because this is aged in those port casks, you should expect to get some must, some earthiness to it. And I do get like stewed dried red berries, mountain berries, raspberries, a little bit of dark cherries or mountain dark cherries, black cherries. Oh man, this is really pleasant on the nose. There's a bit of mint leaves to it too. I do get some of those baking spices. Not really a lot. Maybe I'll get that on the taste, but on the nose, it just feels a little leathery and earthy. It feels like there's a good amount of like dusty oak. It could be because it's just sort of a young whiskey. Now, I say that it's young because think about it. This is a bourbon that's been aged for 4 years in virgin American oaks, probably some toasted barrels, and then it was moved to a port cask, right? Yeah, I mean, you're really talking about a 4-year bourbon, and then you're putting it into what should be a cask that gives off some of those fruity elements And, you know, depending on whether those barrels were dry or they were wet barrels, will really give you a sense of just how fruity it can be. But let's go in for a taste. Cheers. Okay. Wow. That taste gives me something that I wasn't really expecting. So, on the nose, like I said, felt dusty, felt oaky, a lot of wood tannins, and just a light amount of fruit. Now, where it really shines, guys, is on the flavor, the taste. On the palate, what I got just on that initial sip is loads of dark chocolate and some almond. It had a little nuttiness to it, and as well as a whole lot of ripe dark berry flavor. I'm gonna give this one another taste because wow, that really surprised me. So here we go. Man, I'm really enjoying this one. This is a whiskey that's pretty fun. I'm not sure if it's a high rye bourbon, but now things like black licorice, dark chocolate, I would say dark cacao, maybe some coffee, tobacco starts to come up. And then it's just really rounded by like stewed red fruits. Like I mentioned, I'm thinking of like over-ripened raspberries and black cherries that have been muddled together and they've been stewed. Man, and then after a while, you get this little bit of a drying sensation on the palate, and that probably is coming from those wine casks. I'm gonna take one more sip because I will say just, you know, right off the bat, that finish is long and the flavor just sticks to about that mid palate. Now that the whiskey's had a chance to sort of open up, it feels very much laden with chocolates, warming chocolate, more of those fruits, but it starts to develop into some nice complexities. I'm getting tobacco, coffee grinds, not just like this oak bomb that I was worried about. And that finish is spicy. It brings a little bit of cloves, cinnamon, and some black pepper. And it's really nice. I really like the way this is shaping out. So as far as who I feel that this speaks to, and yes, it is Whiskey One approved, 100%. I would say that this speaks to the whiskey connoisseur. Here's why. So you rarely see this gem. I think it's an annual release, if I'm not mistaken. You don't see them all over town all the time. So it is a special release. This is the 2023 edition. This is bottle 15,223, so they made quite a bit of this. So if you're asking me, I would hope to see a lot more of them in the future. I will probably get a backup bottle, but the reason I feel like this speaks to the connoisseur is, one, for its complexity, two, for its flavor, but this is one of those whiskeys that you really want to sit down and pick apart layer after layer after layer, because this is opening up in just that way, and I really appreciate it. I think the connoisseur would need to have this in their bar. And the other reason I feel it's for the connoisseur is overall price point. This thing is not cheap. It's at least $150 to $160 MSRP. So, you know, I think somebody that's just getting into whiskey may not want to spend that much at first until they really get into whiskey and can appreciate it. And the other thing too is, you know, there's a whole lot of whiskey that you should probably get your hands on before you dive into the upper echelon of the premium side of whiskey. So for those of you watching, we really appreciate your support and all the love over the years. Consider subscribing. Hit that like button if you like what you see. Also, you can support us by becoming a Patreon. We have different levels, so we highly encourage you to check out our site. We'll leave a link in the video. And, you know, if you're not wanting to be a Patreon who regularly contributes, that's fine too. You can always hit us up by donating on our PayPal. Just hit me up, send an email, and you can also get shirts just like this. So, message me, let me know you want one too. Here at Whiskey One, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers. I mean, first that chicken and now the rooster over at Rio Rancho Estates. What's next? Turtles? There's a turtle that escaped someone's backyard? How does a turtle escape your backyard? I'd like to know, how is it that you lose a turtle? I mean, turtles aren't even that fast. I mean, who really cares about a lost chicken? Seriously. Which does beg the question, why the hell did the chicken cross the road? Chicken ain't coming to my house for some whiskey, I'm gonna tell you that.